Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rechak Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of 1 Samuel, the 22nd chapter. And as we went through in the 21st chapter, right, we saw that David had escaped, at the hand of Saul trying to kill him. And then he eventually made his way to Nob, to the Ahimelech, all right, and then asked of him, what he had, in which Ahimelech ended up giving him the sword of Goliath and some provisions, and he was on his way, all right. And so here we are, 1 Samuel 22:1. David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. And every one that was in distress, and every one that was in debt, and every one that was discontented, gathered themselves unto him. So all those that were, that basically the Spirit moved them to go and join themselves unto David. Some that were not doing too good, and some that were just not happy with, say, the way Saul was ruling. They weren't content with how things were going. They went and joined themselves unto David, and he became a captain over them. And there were with him about 400 men. And David went thence to Mizpah of Moab. Now Mizpah, there are different locations for it, and that's why it's specified Mizpah of Moab, because when you look here, you'll see there's a Mizpah here on the east of the Jordan River. Okay, but that's not the only Mizpah in the land. However, that's the one in the region of where Moab is, and that's why it's specified of Moab. So that's where David went with his company. And he said unto the king of Moab, Let my father and my mother, I pray thee, come forth and be with you, till I know what God will do for me. So give them a place to stay, and just have them stay with you in the meantime, until I know what the Lord, is going to end up doing, because, they might potentially be in danger, being that Saul is after David. And he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the while that David was in the hold, and the hold being the stronghold, one of the strongholds of Moab. And the prophet Gad said unto David, Abide not in the hold, depart, and get thee into the land of Judah. So go back to the land of Judah. Don't stay here. Then David departed and came into the forest of Hareth. When Saul heard that David was discovered, meaning that they had found him again, and the men that were with him, now Saul abode in Gibeah under a tree in Ramah, having his spear in his hand, and all his servants were standing about him. So he had basically called the servants together, as he was upset at this point, Saul that is. Then Saul said unto his servants that stood about him, Hear ye now, ye Benjamites. Will the son of Jesse give every one of you fields and vineyards, and make you all captains of thousands and captains of hundreds? And what he was saying here was, has David promised you all these things? Has he offered you all of these things? Did he bait you with these things? That all of you have conspired against me, and there is none that sheweth me that my son hath made a league with the son of Jesse. So was that the reason why nobody was, felt the need to tell me that Jonathan had made a pact with David? And there is none of you that is sorry for me, or sheweth unto me that my son hath stirred up my servant against me, to lie in wait as at this day. So there's none of you cared even so much as to let me know that my son is basically strengthening David's hands to come against me. And now look, David is out here plotting on me, right? As it says, to lie in wait. Then answered Doeg the Edomite, which was set over the servants of Saul, and said, I saw the son of Jesse coming to Nob, to Ahimelech the son of Ahitub. And he inquired of the Lord for him, and gave him victuals, and gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine. Then the king sent to call Ahimelech the priest, the son of Ahitub, and all his father's house, the priests that were in Nob, and they came, all of them, to the king. Now keep in mind that Ahimelech was from the line of Eli. All right, the same Eli the Lord basically put that judgment upon. And Saul said, Hear now, thou son of Ahitub. And he answered, Here am I, my lord. And Saul said unto him, Why have ye conspired against me, thou and the son of Jesse? Now, Ahimelech truly wasn't aware, right? Because David beguiled him, but he wasn't aware. However, the situation is not looking too good in his favor right now. So Saul is basically here accusing him of having conspired with David, in that thou hast given him bread and a sword, and has inquired of God for him, that he should rise against me to lie in wait as at this day. So why have you colluded with David? You gave him provisions, you gave him a weapon, you even inquired of God for him, and now, you strengthen his hand to where now he's back in the land and he's plotting on me. Then Ahimelech answered the king and said, Who is so faithful among all thy servants as David, which is the king's son-in-law, and goeth at thy bidding, and is honorable in thine house? So, I mean, David is one of your most faithful and loyal servants. Nobody compares to him when it comes to serving you. Did I then begin to inquire of God for him? Like, this isn't the first time I've inquired of God for David. And he's saying this to say that, let me finish the verse. Be it far from me, let not the king impute anything unto his servant, nor to all the house of my father. So don't lay this charge upon me, for thy servant knew nothing of all this, less or more. So he's like, well, number one, I never suspected David of doing anything of that sort. He's one of your best servants. And on top of that, anytime he's come to me to inquire of the Lord, yeah, I inquire for him. So it's not like the first time. So as far as I know, this was just, normal situation. I didn't know that he was your enemy or plotting against you or anything of that sort. And the king said, Thou shalt surely die, Ahimelech, thou and all thy father's house. And the king said unto the footmen that stood about him, Turn and slay the priests of the Lord, because their hand also is with David, and because they knew when he fled, and did not shew it to me. But the servants of the king would not put forth their hand to fall upon the priests of the Lord. So they feared that, at the end of the day, they're still the priests of the Lord, and no, we fear God. And the king said to Doeg, Turn thou and fall upon the priests. And Doeg is wicked as. And Doeg the Edomite turned, and he fell upon the priests, and slew on that day 80, that's 80, and 5 persons, so that's 85 people, priests, that did wear a linen ephod. And Nob, the city of the priests, smote he with the edge of the sword, both men and women, children and sucklings, and oxen and asses and sheep, with the edge of the sword. So that was a slaughter, right? Mind you, these were priests and their families over there living in the city of Nob. Now, what's also interesting here was that, remember, as a part of the judgment the Lord put, or the curse he put upon Eli, he said that basically none in his house would reach full like a old age, you know. So it's not by surprise that the Lord had it that regardless of what Ahimelech would have said, um, Saul still made the decision to have him, and not just him, but and his house be put to death. And one of the sons of Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. So Lord managed to have him get away, and he ran to find David. And Abiathar shewed David that Saul had slain the Lord's priests. And David said unto Abiathar, I knew it that day when Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would surely tell Saul. Because remember, as we read, Doeg was there. And David just knew, but he had no option. He had to do what he had to do, but he just knew, he's like, man, I know this guy. This guy is going to snitch, this damn demon. I have occasioned the death of all the persons of thy father's house. And in other words, he's saying, it's my fault, that your father's house basically had to suffer this because, had I not come there and done that, especially with Doeg there, this wouldn't have been the case, right? They would have been spared. Abide thou with me, fear not, for he that seeketh my life seeketh thy life. So we have a common enemy. But with me, thou shalt be in safeguard. So don't worry. As long as you stay over here with me, you're going to be all right. I'll protect you. And that's the end of 1 Samuel, the 22nd chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rechak Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.